And there's no part, even after that, after Rocky got back in the third time, yeah, you must have forgot, you drug him to the corner where your old lady was standing at.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about that part. Oh, my God.
Oh, that was the best part.
Oh, tell that.
I said, Paul,
tell that.
Made him apologize to her and everything, and still, even after all that happened, everybody around, except for just a few people, knew that what was going on. I mean, none of us thought we were just working a tag team match.
That's awesome. I'd like to get more into some other stories from Gulf South Wrestling. Joe Gibson, I talked to a lot about this, and he says that he had some amazing times, and it was such a great environment to learn in.
Yeah, Joe was one of the students.
And he learned so much just from sitting and shutting up and listening. But when you're around guys like you and guys like Marcel and guys like Percy, when guys are in there, it's hard to not learn.
I learn every time.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the students? I mean,
Man, we have some.
were you there? I mean, obviously you weren't there to just take people's money. You were there to give people an education.
In fact, every dollar that came in, we never took a penny for one single student. It all went to the GSW to pay bills and for shows and stuff. We never once took a single penny as far as that goes. So, I mean, and the thing is Jester was also one of the trainers with us, and Rocket had his own style from where he'd come from. Jester kind of was still in the style of where he originally came from, and I stick with a lot of stuff I learned in Canada. And what we basically did from being at the very first, when we were running into the problem of I wasn't here this night, so Rocket taught, and they said, well, Rocket showed us one thing this way, Jester showed us something this way, and what it got to is finally we all kind of clicked together and decided which move was best out of each thing. I took a variation of 3 things, and once we got that, the students really started rolling with their ring skills, especially Joe. Nathan Crowd.
Yeah, and that when you think of the guys who went through that school, like all those guys, a good portion of those guys right now are getting bookings, and more importantly, getting over and establishing themselves. Which is that a lot of times with schools, it's you want to be a wrestler? Give me my money, and then they're done.
About 2 days of training and send them down.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. Yeah, hey, you're trained. Here's a gimmick.
I'm sorry.
No, that's one of the things that we had there at the school was, I mean, it was a damn good school, and really they had the benefit of, sometimes, because sometimes it went back and it bit us in the ass with several students there, is that sometimes we actually, smartened them up a little too much and a little too fast.
Any examples you'd like to talk about? You don't have to.
Yeah, no.
Well, okay. It causes, it's the few things I would critique about him now, as far as...
well, no, the one that comes to mind right off the bat is Craig Hare.
Oh, of course, yeah. How could
that would be a good story to tell, because anybody that's watching this that's been around for less than a year, and they catch a little praise, they need to know that it's not always a good thing whenever people are blowing your head up about how good you are.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it wasn't just us that saw there's talent in him, because Percy walked up to him.
We're talking about Craig Jeezy.
Craig Jeezy
at one time, Craig Hare.
And I hate to even give him any time of this
college Craig.
Okay.
He was. I would say when the class all started originally, he was probably one of the most talented ones out of it.
Yeah.
He had a actual amateur wrestling background from high school.
Cool. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Was an actual this is where I get all my cardio training at. He was actually like I say, a high school wrestler. He was an athletic built kid, and just wasn't all in the head there.
No.
The kid was definitely a few bricks short of a load.
One thing that messed him up, because Percy saw something in him and let him know it,
He told me he hadn't seen that kind of talent since he saw Steve Austin and The Undertaker.
And I told him the same way I told him, I wanted to give him a little something to keep him going, but man, it just went.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tell you, ones that know Percy, that, I mean, for him to give a compliment like that.
He don't compliment that much.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody get a compliment that much.
Right.
Yeah, and 3 months into this kid's training, he's telling us about how he's going to be an OVW in the next 3 months.
Right.
And, set a timeline like that for yourself.
Yeah, that's 90 days. It's
yeah, I mean, that's... You know,
and we tortured him and punished him as far as what you can do as training. Not as far as taking like weapons to him, but I mean as far as we would tell him what he did wrong, and we would explain to him, tonight you're running the stairs for the whole hour. You know, you're running up and down just a set of steps. Oh,
really?
Yeah, I mean, we would put him through extra hard cardio training to punish him.
How long would the guys go before they got ring time? Would you put them through the ringer first?
The only thing we really did was we would teach them the rope bump at very first. But what we have the rule of about at least 2 weeks of coming and doing strictly cardio before they got to get in the ring and do the rope bump was the general rule.
Yeah.
But of course, with someone like Craig, where we made a mistake at. He happened to catch us on a night where we were having a light class and was in there, and he wasn't quite. I mean, he was rather new, whether it's second or third time there, and we decided to let him get in and take a bump, and he did it so perfectly. We just kept going until he did something wrong. I remember he did a fireman's carry on Rocket, never being shown it by us, and it looked beautiful.
Yeah, because I actually got in there. I knew the kid had an amateur background, Mercury, which had trained me.
Mercury McLeod.
Yeah, Mercury McLeod. Which had trained me originally. That was one of his big things.
Well, he's amateur. Doesn't he have a background?
Yeah, he's got an amateur background from high school.
Right.
And that was one of his big things, that while he was training us at the school we had at IWC, the machine shop, the whole deal we were doing there, I mean, we shot for points every other training. You know, and I mean, you're shooting for points with people twice your size or whatever else. You know, it's collegiate style.
Sure.
So when the kid came in, I was like, hey, you got an amateur background. I got in there and I said, you know, hey, let's just go with it, run at about a half shoot, you know, which is, you know, running at about, you know, half speed or whatever. And the kid started going with it right off the bat. You know, he had a lot of talent. But like you say, his head got blowed up, and then all of a sudden he saw stars in his eyes and, you know, left us high and dry, bailed out. He was going to go be a superstar all of a sudden. And everything he thought was going to happen fell through right in his face, and he got left holding the bag with nothing.
I don't think it took 6 months.
You know?
No.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the whole reason he was going out to be a big superstar all of a sudden, you know, when that fell through, the ride that he was going with, well, that ride was talented enough to get a job back, you know, with the company.
Right.
But
and you knew the problem was
training. You know, he's the one that got left holding the bag, looking like an idiot. And you know, it's real disappointing. You know, when you get students like that and you smarten them up and you try to. That was one big thing with Gulf South. We started it off and we said, you know what, we're not gonna fuck these kids over.
Right.
There's so many schools out there willing to, you know, just screw somebody for their money.
Right.
And you know, in fact, there was shoot as hell. There was one kid came in the door. This kid, he's what, he's 6'4", you know, 6'6". He weighs almost 300 and something pounds.
Yeah.
He comes in the door. He is wanting to be a wrestler. This guy, he couldn't bend down and touch his toes. They said, well, he's got his money. He wants to pay it. I raised immortal hell. I was like, no, we are not taking this kid's money. No.
He's wasting
this
his time.
kid, we're wasting his
I
time.
said, wasting his time.
No.
That boy ain't gonna never make nothing.
This kid just adamantly shows up, will not go away, and just refuses to go away. So for 6 months, I mean, this kid could not even do a forward roll.
No.
And he's huge, he's out of shape, he blows up in like 5 seconds. So for 6 months, we had this kid on the side of the ring just running steps. He was not allowed to get in the ring. He was not allowed. Well, the first time he gets in the ring, somebody tries to suplex him.
I remember that.
Damn,
who tried to suplex him?
The professional, Larry Busby, he grabs him up, and I'm like, I'm telling him, Larry,
I think we all are at that point.
You know, I'll use his work. Pro, I'm like, man, this kid cannot even take a forward roll. That's all right, I can get him over. I was like, Larry, or Pro, I'm telling you, this kid cannot do anything. He's like, I can pick him up, I can get him. So they go to do a suplex, and damned if he don't go right on top of his head. Boom! I'm like, oh my God, this guy is dead.
Killed him.
And he just kind of bounces up, and stars all in his eyes, and he's like, I'm all right.